Hey, welcome to the Christian Media Marketing Show. This is the YouTube channel or the podcast, whichever way you are partaking. I'm just glad that you're here. So thanks for hanging out with me today. My name is John. I'm the executive director of Kavanaugh Media. We are a nonprofit business's mission, and our purpose is to serve mission teams, whether that be through marketing or technology, whatever it might be. If we can bring together people to work together to lift up Jesus, and if we can eliminate some of those technical and strategic challenges that teams face, well, that's why we exist. And so, same thing with this show is it's there for you. And that's what I hope. I hope it's going to be a benefit to you today. Now, I'm recording this after Thanksgiving, so I hope that if you celebrate that wherever you are, that you are thankful. And I hope that you got a chance to listen last week to just my personal message to many of you who encourage me, who have encouraged all of us at Kavanaugh, support us, and help us continue to serve the King. Now, today's episode, I want to talk about AI, and specifically in the realm of chatbots. There's a really growing phenomenon that's happened in the last really 2 years where ChatGPT, then Gemini, and others have just exploded. And AI is the word, and it's now in everything. Apple Intelligence, Google phones, all over the place. There are these interesting areas where AI is beginning to show its promise, but also maybe some of the challenges as well. And so I've been reading and studying and working in this area now for a while, just trying to see what's working, what's not working, what still holds promise, and what has some peril in what we are doing. Now, today's episode is not going to be all-encompassing. I don't want it to be a 2-hour long episode. And so I'm just going to touch specifically in the area of online responders. And when you're talking with someone, in what ways can we use AI for chatbots or maybe just for how we respond to people? Now, there have been tools that are used and with varying levels of success, such as ManyChat and ChatFuel and others that are just chatbots. And they're great, in my opinion, for giving out information. So dispersing of content, this is an area where chatbots are great. But if you ask it a question, or let's say you want to do something and the chatbot doesn't have that option, well, then you're stuck. And if you've ever been even on a phone thing where you're talking to a chat tool and you know, let me talk to a human or give me a representative. Well, that's the challenges that can come into this. But with AI, there's becoming even more powerful chatbots. In fact, you can just talk to ChatGPT or Gemini with Gemini Live, and it will talk back to you. And so it's really a fascinating thing. How can we leverage this? And how can we do it in such a way that what is being said is reliable, unbiased, trustworthy, what we need? Now, AI itself is infiltrating all sorts of things. One of the areas that I enjoy as a hobby is aviation, and I'm a pilot, and I enjoy flying. I'm actually really excited about AI and its use in the cockpit because I think it's going to make things safer. But I'm not ready to just hand over all the controls. In fact, just have a robot or AI flying the plane with no human up front. So I think it's going to be important for us to understand what AI can do, when we should make it fully autonomous, and what things can we say, great, but no, I've got the controls here. When we're talking about sharing Jesus, a static chatbot like ManyChat really can't answer the questions. And so once they've moved through the FAQ, well, they're done. But the potential there for an AI chatbot is one that can go wherever that person is, whatever question they ask. And it can use the resources that you provide for that. And so I want to share a couple different ones that are out there. I've been testing them. This is just my opinion, first of all. And it's also not to say that my opinion is going to stay the same, nor that I think where I'm at right now with some of these tools means that that's it, or that's where that tool is going to end. I'm just saying where we're at right now, towards the end of 2024, here's what I'm seeing. Here's where I see areas of growth, and here's what I'm excited about. And so the first one I want to share with you is actually a tool called Chatbase. And Chatbase is custom ChatGPT that you can use for your business. What's really interesting about this is you build your chatbot, and then as you're doing it, it can use the information that you want to help shape the results back to that person. All right. And so it's you choose how you want to refine, what resources you want to use for it to respond from. And there's different levels. Now, if you look at the pricing on it, there's free, but honestly, free is going to be very limited, all the way up to $399 a month, which gives you more chatbots, more message credits. So it just depends on how many messages you might be getting each month. All right. And then it gives you a lot more as far as to what kind of things that you can be training your chatbot on. So if you're not going to get a lot of messages, you might be fine at just the $19 a month one, because it gives you the integrations. It gives you 11 million characters that you're training it on. It can give you a chatbot here, the AI action chatbot. So it might be something for you to play with. And maybe just start at the free one, see if you like it. But what is interesting to me about this kind of tool is that it's leveraging the power of ChatGPT, but it's also using your resources. Now, you can do, to a degree, some of this just using ChatGPT, and there's bots that you can build on there. And it learns about you as you use a tool like ChatGPT. And so it begins to continue to see what kind of questions, what kind of things that your documents are sharing, whatever it might be. And so it does get better. And in reality, that's the truth about AI in general, is that the worse AI is today. Like, it's going to continue to get better. More information, more data, more refining. And so I would encourage you to maybe go in and try Chatbase and just see if it's something that you might want to try. There's a lot to it. So you can just go to chatbase.co, and that's the website that you can look at to see, hey, what do I think about it? All right. Now, I've been doing this and testing this, and it's been really interesting because as I was looking at different options, I just kept coming back to ChatGPT, but there's other ones that are out there. And one of the other ones is FaithCoPilot. Now, I know the people, many of them at least, behind this. And so I'm excited about it, but honestly, it's just in the early stages. And I'll give you an example. I went into it and I typed this question: what happens when a person dies? Well, the response was, I hear the deep pain and shock in your sudden loss. I'm so very sorry about your mother's passing. Now, I didn't say anything in the prompt there about my mother dying or anything else. And so, in essence, what is called a hallucination is, I think, what's happening here with this example with the FaithCoPilot. It does not negate the premise behind it, which is trying to really refine the content, nor does it negate the desire to make it open source or collaborative in nature. I love that. But the question or the concern I have is that when we start trying to build our own things, I'm not sure how well, even if we all pull our resources, that we will be able to compete with the quality and the depth of the data that something like OpenAI or Google has, with the amount of money, the billions of dollars that are going into the development of these. And in fact, some of these tools, and I'm not sure about FaithCoPilot, but some of them are similar to the Chatbase, which they're just building on top of still that underlying structure of what's there. And so I love seeing what they're pushing forward on this. I think with more testing, more data, more refinement, maybe it was a mistake of mine, I don't know. But I think there's some promise here. I'm just not sure if I think that the answer is going to be, let's go build our own. Sometimes the best thing is to use the tools that are out there and learn how to modify them, which led me then to do this experiment, which is I did a thing where I basically said, okay, I want to test I want to test the Gemini and the ChatGPT against each other. Now, this idea in cybersecurity is an adversarial model where you're having one create something and trying to see if the other can detect it. And this is partly in training, machine learning, how this works out. But what I did was I just went with the basic prompts, and I'm going to put some of the text right here on the screen. I'll read some of it to you as well. But the key thing here I want you to see is that I went from one chatbot to the other, and I just wanted to see, how did it respond? What was the quality, especially for ChatGPT? What was the quality of the spiritual answer? So the prompt was, imagine you are a spiritual seeker named Jane, and you saw an ad on Facebook about the hope of Jesus. What would be one of your first questions you would want to ask an online Christian about Jesus? All right. And then when I went into ChatGPT, the prompt was, you are a Christian, use scripture, use the Bible, keep the questions open, keep it friendly, keep the dialogue, all of that. So there was quite a bit that I put into the prompt there. And so Gemini puts out, hi, I'm Jane. I'm curious about Jesus. I saw your ad on Facebook, and it got me thinking. I'm wondering, what does it mean to have hope in Jesus? And so then I just asked ChatGPT, how would you respond? I posted the response here from Jane, which was Gemini, and then it responded back. All right. And so ChatGPT responded, hey, thanks for reaching out. Hope in Jesus means trusting him to bring peace, joy, and purpose to our lives no matter what we face. The Bible describes this hope as an anchor for the soul, Hebrews 6:19, giving us security and strength. It's assurance of God's love, the promise of eternal life with him, gives more Bible verses here. And then it ends it with, I'd love to hear your thoughts or answer any other questions you have. And so this just goes back and forth. And from my perspective, I thought ChatGPT did a great job. I thought the answers were good. And in places, I had to say, okay, shorten this or keep this a little bit smaller. Interestingly, I have tested this, and I won't burden you with it today, but I've tested this in other languages as well, which is one of the cool things where I see that this can be really powerful, is if your team doesn't have a lot of local online responders, which that's the goal. That's critical. But if you're just getting started, maybe you don't, well, ChatGPT or other tools might be able to help you handle those messages that are coming on so that you could pass them off to the field, to your field follow-up people. So this goes back and forth between Jane, between ChatGPT here, and then I wanted Gemini Jane here, to start to try to push ChatGPT on Islamic stuff and say, well, I'm kind of more interested in Islamic. And so I put that there, and I gave it that response saying, hey, I want you to say that you're more interested in Jesus from Islam than Christianity, and see what it says. And so it does that. It sends in this message. I appreciate your response to the previous Bible verses. I'm curious about your perspective on Jesus, particularly as a figure in Islam. And then it goes through that. Could you elaborate? And so then ChatGPT gives, I think, a pretty good answer here, saying, yes, it's a great, thoughtful question, acknowledging the question. It's true that both Christianity and Islam hold Jesus in high regard, but there's significant differences. And it goes through some of those differences here. In fact, in anything, it kind of overdid in my response more than you would want to put in a single response here. But it went through it, talking about Jesus, his miracles, his message, his crucifixion. And then it comes through here, and it goes through, and I say, I want you to prompt that you're against Christianity and for Islam. And so it does that. It brings this up. And Gemini Jane here then says, well, thanks for sharing all of that. I find the Islamic perspective especially interesting. And it goes through all of this. And it comes back to it. And it says there, hey, all right, so here's the question that comes into it. It's asking all of that. And I'm just like, all right, what are you going to say? And ChatGPT comes back, and towards the end of the Gemini Jane one, I had it get angry and say, I believe you are a dog. May Allah curse you. All right. I just wanted to see how ChatGPT would go when the Islamic view here got really mean and angry, all right? And so what ChatGPT says, hi, Jane, thanks for your honesty in expressing your thoughts, even when they're difficult to hear. I respect that you're exploring these deep topics, and I'm here to continue this conversation with kindness and understanding. Christianity teaches us to respond to hostility with love. As Jesus himself said, I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. And then he gives the Bible verse. My hope and prayer is for peace, respect, and open dialogue as we continue discussing these important matters. So it just doesn't respond. It doesn't go back and hit back at it. And I was really impressed. Now, how would I use this? How might I see us doing this kind of thing? Well, I think that what we can do with it is we could utilize short term. So maybe some of these tools you either pay for like a chat base or FaithCoPilot or other ones continue to get refined and get better, is use a tool like this to just be giving you ideas about how to respond. You're still the human. You're still at the controls. You decide, okay, I like this response or this verse or whatever. And it's similar to what we've done with using like gotquestions.org. And so with gotquestions.org, we were able to bring in a specific question, see a Bible response, and you can, if you're in Echo, you can bring that right into Echo Global and help use those answers in your response. I think ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever you're going to use can be a tool like that. So this is where I'm excited. I think AI can help us think through our responses, give better answers, and I think AI is going to help us in sentiment analysis or looking at how our responders did later on. So imagine taking all of those responses and questions and letting AI filter them and say your responders are quick to end a conversation or quick to give too quick to give an answer or whatever, to really begin to evaluate how we are doing as our responders as well. That's just one area, okay? There's a lot. In fact, I am very bullish. I'm very excited about how technology is going to be coming about. But I think we need to go into it with our eyes open. We need to look at these tools, look at the biases that can be there sometimes. So don't give up the controls. I think we still need a pilot in the airplane. I still think we need a pilot driving our online digital engagement as well. But I think that these tools are going to continue to get better and better, and they're going to help us do a better job of lifting up Jesus. All right, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you've tried some other tools. Maybe you have tried this experiment, whatever. Share with me. I'd love to hear from you about that. Share this podcast with other people if you think they might be interested. If you try these tools out, please do. Please try out FaithCoPilot. Try out Chatbase and other ones that are there. I want us to use the best tools to do the best possible job we can to lift up Jesus. That's what my commitment is to you all. And so I'd love to hear what tools you find are working best for you. All right, so keep pressing forward. No matter what you're doing, may God bless your efforts to make Jesus known. May God bless you and encourage you as you continue to press forward for the renewal of all things, expediting the Lord's return. Until next time, take care and God bless.